Predator and prey make up the bedrock of the circle of life. However, occasionally this cycle can come into conflict with human activity. Recently, 2 videos showing bird attacks on wildlife were posted on the community board and have caused concerns for farmers on the islands. Birds of prey make up a vital part of ecosystems and food chains around the world. In the Falklands, turkey vultures and petrels take this position as they prey on the carcasses of larger animals. These birds have an essential role as they help to prevent the spread of disease and dispose of rotting meat. Occasionally, however, birds of prey have been known to attack living livestock. These attacks are rare but can lead to some sheep being wounded and occasionally ending in death, leaving some farmers concerned for their livestock.
For the turkeys wise, years ago from when I was a kid that I can remember, it's always been a problem. For as long as I can remember, it's always been a talk between the old timers and sort of between conservation and young generations. But from what I've heard from the old timers, the days where they used to shoot them and keep them sort of numbers down, they kept it down. They didn't completely extinct them, they kept them down. So basically for the odd sheep that did die naturally out on the farm, there was more food for them. Basically now there's no one shooting them. I think there's about 3, I'm going to say 3, there could even be less or maybe a bit more per person. So there's 3 turkeys per every person in the Falklands. That is a big number of turkeys to have. The farms are now being broken up into smaller groups, so there's more intense farming than there was, so there's not a higher death rate of livestock, so there's not as much food for those animals to scavenge. There's more rules in place of keeping an eye on them and of your livestock, and you're not allowed to have them obviously dead lying around because of diseases, which is fully understandable. But then it's also taken it away from the turkey side, so obviously now they've just naturally taken onto scavenging.
In 1908, an ordinance for the destruction of birds of prey existed within the Falkland Islands. This ordinance allowed residents of the islands to kill turkey vultures and calacalas as the birds were at that time considered a pest. However, the ordinance led to a severe decline in the population of these birds. This policy ended 70 years ago, and the birds have since become a protected species as part of the Wildlife Ordinance of 1999. Bird protections in the Falklands fall under the Wildlife Ordinance of 1999 and the Conservation of Albatrosses and Petrels Agreement. The agreement outlines the need for species conservation and habitat conservation and restoration. These protections prevent the shooting of animals without a licence and have strict controls about the number of birds that can be killed.
We do know that farmers have in the past had issues with turkey vultures. So if farmers do have issues with turkey vultures, they can give me a ring, we'll discuss it, and we can issue them for a permit to control those birds that are actively attacking the sheep. So if they're actively attacking the sheep, the farmer may go out and control those. Those permits aren't just granted by myself, they're granted through a committee, so although I do all the secretarial work and make a recommendation on my part, it is up to the committee, which consists of the Department of Agriculture, Falklands Conservation, the Tourist Board and the Rural Business Association.
Unfortunately, Falklands Conservation declined to comment about this issue. However, if you do ever see a bird attacking livestock or an animal, please contact the Environmental Officer Denise Blake on 28483.